Welcome in, Bears' latest Fan Art Sports. I'm Dan Levy. First game of the preseason against the Miami Dolphins is officially in the book. And I got thoughts, we got grades, we got things to go over, and we're talking about it now. Welcome into the program. Once again, I'm Dan Levy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all the goods. We talk everything Chicago Bears. And one thing is for certain, we will begin and end it every time on this note. The Green Bay Packers suck. It's just the way it is. They actually look worse than the Bears, and we'll get to them too as well. First and foremost, let's start with reactions as the first game against the Miami Heat, the preseason game number 1, in the books. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. A couple of questions answered, but still a lot more on the docket. The Bears ended a preseason game with the Dolphins at a 24-24 tie. The game ended in a deadlock, leaving fans, players with mixed feelings. No win, but no disaster either, and still the first week offered plenty of insights into the Bears roster as we move forward. The headline for everyone that we're kind of going up and down this list would be no Caleb Williams in the preseason. They decided that the game against Miami Dolphins was not the place to showcase him, but to do it in the practice on Friday, the joint practice that they had with him. They wanted that to be the time where he got the reps and the snaps. To much chagrin, I would say. There wasn't a lot of first-string people out there. There were some, but they wanted to see what the backups had to offer. I still think that's a miss by the Bears, and I get why they're doing it. They want to save him. They want to make sure he's not injured, but with the limited amount that he's getting practice-wise of what he's doing with this offseason, with this minicamp, and with this new offense that he's trying to get, and a lot of people still very much concerned over the production of Caleb Williams. The first time he could see live action at Soldier Field with real refs and real stuff going on, and we don't get to see him. He's already missing a lot of valuable practice time because of the Player Association, the collective bargaining agreement. They have made the decision that they get less time in the preseason, so these joint practices are now their quote-unquote extra ways of trying to get these guys more looks and then a couple of preseason games. But I still think that anytime we can get Caleb in there, anytime he can work on this new offense, again, it'd be one thing if it was year 2 on the same offense. If next year it's the same way, I would understand it. But this first one, I'm still questioning that move. Overall, this was a way to test out backup quarterbacks. Is it going to be Case? Is it going to be Tyson? Is it going to be both of them? And if so, who gets that QB2 and who gets the QB3 position? Well, let's start first with the star of the game, Austin Booker, edge rusher, 6 tackles, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss, 1 forced fumble, and 4 hits of the QB. However, can he be consistent? Can he go against the first string like that? Can he win those one-on-one battles and generate pressure behind Montez Sweat and Odengbo? There's a lot to be discovered there. But for that game, to see how he did against second and third stringers, keeping that pressure on, that's what we're looking at of him. That is one of the things that we were excited when we found out that he was going to be with this team and doing what he does. And there's a lot of questions who's going to be in that edge passing rush discussion with Montez and with Odengbo. And I am so happy that Austin Booker was able to show up. But again, this is just a preseason game. Kept the pressure on second and third stringers. The forced fumble was amazing. And just the sheer presence and what he was doing to get around tackles and to find the quarterback and just to put hits on it, just to put hands on the quarterback. I was loving that one. Another one that I was happy to see was Luther Burden III. Caught some pretty good catches, did pretty good out there. Nothing to really write home about, but he looked good. He looked smooth, especially coming from somebody who started camp hurt and has been working his way back in. Just to see that he's running routes and just to see that he's in the correct positions and just to see that he's overall getting what he needs to do, I'm okay with that. As far as the quarterbacks are concerned, I give Tyson Bagent a C. He did okay. He wasn't very consistent. He made some good things out there, but there were times where he was just kind of questioning. And again, that's the kind of quarterback where I don't want to see him lined up. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If at some point during this Bears season, whether it's injury or just because Caleb Williams stinks and they have to replace him with one of these backup quarterbacks, I will be very depressed. As Bears fans, this will be a humongous just a depression and just a humongous letdown. But for the foreseeable future, if we're going to have a QB2, Case Keenum made the strongest point that he should be the guy. Case Keenum proved it, most functional, 8 for 10, 80 yards, and a QB rating of 139.6. That is really good out there. As far as anybody else is concerned, well, we'll see. But Tyson Bagent still remains to be the front runner for now. But Keenum's poise and efficiency can't be ignored. So we'll see how that goes. Again, very happy with Austin Booker. Running back situation. 7th round pick, Kyle Monangai. Actually looked pretty decent out there. Looked far more polished than expected, showing strong vision and toughness. Monangai racked up 30 yards on 6 carries. And with DeAndre Swift still struggling from last year, Monangai's sharp running and promise and pass protection make him a leading candidate for the backup running back role. That does not say a lot of good things about Roschon Johnson. But hey, you never know. We still don't really know what's going on. Oftentimes, that 7th round pick can get cut, can get clipped, so we don't know. But Roschon Johnson's absence due to a foot injury did hurt his chance for a major role with the Bears' rushing attack. And with Monangai and Ian Wheeler seizing the moment, the longer Johnson sits out, the more his 2025 impact looks uncertain. And to be honest, I like seeing Monangai out there. He was fun to watch. He was fun to maneuver through. They went to him a lot, and I like seeing him bust through those tackles. Braxton Jones, stock down. He struggled with some costly mistakes in his preseason debut. Considering it was his first game action since a major ankle injury in December, some leniency is still due, but still, rookie Ozzie Trapillo pushing hard for that starting left tackle role with the cleaners showing. And again, Colston Loveland looked good out there. I was pretty happy with those rookies, and we'll get to Ben Johnson's reaction with that one. Overall, I'm going to give the Bears a B- on this one. Again, nothing too sharp, nothing too great. I was very happy to see that the offense was moving at a good pace. Defense wasn't as sharp as I thought it would be. I thought there would be a lot more harder, especially on the quarterback. I was looking to see a lot more different schemes, a lot more things going on. But again, preseason one, this is what we're just trying to get guys trying out, but wasn't too impressed with the defense. The offense, I still want to see what number one is, and I'm still not giving a real grade to this Bears offense or defense or team overall until we see the first strings going at it. But overall, I'm going to give them a B-. Game was entertaining. It ended in a tie, and I'm fine with that. Who cares if it's a tie, a blowout, win, or a loss? I wanted to just see overall concept of offense, overall concept of defense. Were the rookies able to flash? And could we see some things that guys are battling for position? For all that, I got my money's worth, and I was definitely enjoying my popcorn with this game. So overall, I was entertained, but there's still a lot of questions out there, and we'll hopefully in this next one where they got the Bills coming up this weekend, there's going to be a lot more questions and a lot more, hopefully some answers going on with that. And I'm loving these battles as they're building up going to week 2 against the Buffalo Bills. We can't discuss this game without talking about Ben Johnson overall. What Ben Johnson's reactions out there for the first preseason game? Well, he had a lot to say, and here's his overall reaction to Game 1 against the Miami Dolphins in a 24-24 tie. What do you think, Ben?
You know, I say this. I think those guys, they did a phenomenal job going out there. The effort was there. The intensity was there throughout. I think a number of guys, knowing that there were no reserves behind them, they really fought through a lot, whether getting dinged up and having to come out for a few plays and coming back out. And looking to finish that game. I mean, guys that come to mind, Jonathan Ford, you got Zach Pickens, you got Trey Flowers, you got Blackwell. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And so I think that's what stood out to me. It makes you proud as a coach when you see the guys go out there and give everything that they got. And then the other thing is you got a few guys that aren't dressed out, and, you know, they're in Bears gear, and they're right there up front and center cheering their buddies on. And so that's what you want to see at this point. We're halfway through camp, and you know, the team chemistry is really coming together. I thought at times we played with the physical nature that we keep talking about, and we've been practicing towards over the course of camp. At the end of the day, you know, it comes down to making some plays there at the end of the game, and offensively we had some chances. I think we ended up being 1 for 4 on 4th down. If we do a little bit better in that regard, then we probably end up with a W.
He's right. I mean, and he said it before I actually played the clip, but it still was 24-24. They're keeping score, and the players knew what was going on, and they all played hard. As far as guys out there, you know, cheering for their teammates, No, okay, whatever. I really don't care about that one. Of course, it's good to see players cheering on their guys. It's a new season. It's a new offense. Everybody's trying to get their rah-rah. And again, right now, this is a honeymoon period. This is all a pep rally into what this season could be, and this is all tryouts for guys that are on the bubble of making this team or not. However, what he thought of the rookies, that was also pretty good thoughts too, right, Ben?
Trust is that's a strong word.
You trust them.
I don't know if I can say that yet for those three guys. Yeah, I think we're trending in the right direction. I'll be curious to see what the tape says because that'll go a long way in building that trust. But I thought they all came out, and I loved the look in their eye there in pregame. I thought Kyle ran super hard when the ball was in his hands. I thought Luther made a couple plays that came his way, and then Colson we probably only had in there for a couple series to get his feet wet, and he's been getting a little bit more reps in practice, and so we wanted to just be smart with him here for week one of preseason. But I'm happy with all three of those guys and where they're headed, but that trust will take a little time.
And that trust is going to come in the form of preseason games and, again, practices. But just overall, the questions that we had about Colston, the questions that we had for Luther, and also Kyle Monangai, there was a lot of questions whether or not they're going to get this. They look good. I thought all three rookies from that standpoint looked good. And Ozzie Trapillo, he's making a really strong case for that left tackle. So if that's what comes out of this, if that's what we're seeing out of this, that the rookies, starting from the first one, was proving to be that he's starting to trust him. He's not going to trust it yet because he's only seen one preseason game. But for what he's seen so far, he likes. Now, as far as his thoughts on the quarterback start, which ones were the backups, who he liked most, here are his general thoughts on the QBs.
You know, I say this. I think those guys, they did a phenomenal job going out there. The effort was there. The intensity was there throughout. I think a number of guys, knowing that there were no reserves behind them, they really fought through a lot, whether getting dinged up and having to come out for a few plays and coming back out and looking to finish that game. I mean, guys that come to mind, Jonathan Ford, you got Zach Pickens, you got Trey Flowers, you got Blackwell. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And so I think that's what stood out to me. It makes you proud as a coach when you see the guys go out there and give everything that they got. And then the other thing is you got a few guys that aren't dressed out, and they're in Bears gear, and they're right there up front and center cheering their buddies on. And so that's what you want to see at this point. We're halfway through camp, and the team chemistry is really coming together. I thought at times we played with the physical nature that we keep talking about, and we've been practicing towards over the course of camp. At the end of the day, it comes down to making some plays there at the end of the game, and offensively we had some chances. I think we ended up being 1 for 4 on fourth down. If we do a little bit better in that regard, then we probably end up with a W.
He's right. Had the guys done more and been a little bit more, connecting on plays, they could have ended up that W. But again, as the tie goes, I'm good with it. What we saw from quarterbacks, functional. This is what we were looking for backup quarterbacks. Nothing special. Can they actually learn this offense? Can they be functional? Should something happen with Caleb Williams, can you guys serve? And can you get this offense that they are trying to implement? From what we saw, yes. Tyson Bagent's still a front runner. I'm still leaning more towards Case Keenum. He looked a lot more poised, and he looked like a lot more in charge. I was more impressed with Case than I was Tyson. But again, preseason 1, new offense is what it is. We'll give it for that one. As we make our way back over now, the Bears front office, they spoke. Kevin Warren, as well as George McCaskey, the chairman of the board, all echoed praises for Ryan Poles, saying he's a world-class leader, transformative thought process, and he's got a lot to say. Also, practice intensity of what Ben Johnson has been doing, the respect for his knowledge and his leadership, and the Bears practices have ramped up in physicality and focus, and they love the new culture that what's going on. Warren lauded Johnson's leadership style, combining hard work, positivity, creativity, and deep respect for Bears tradition. These practices are intense. It shows the players respect their coaches, and especially the head coach. Again, and McCaskey summed it up the best way. We are in the honeymoon period. We're undefeated and people are excited, but now we need to take care of business. And that, to be honest, I agree with everything he said. Yes, they're going to be behind the guys they just got in. Of course they're going to say we trust them. What are they going to say? We just hired these two guys and they stink. We really made some mistakes. We're sorry, Bears fans. No, they're going to say looks good. For everything we've saw and everything we've said, the new culture looks good. The new defense looks good. And everything going into these guys, it's a complete change from what we saw in the last 10 years in Bears football. Whether or not this works, we'll see. But again, during this honeymoon period, Ben Johnson, use it to your advantage. Make sure it's one of those things where you know exactly what you're doing, you're testing everything out, and do what you got to do to get Caleb Williams in this. We all see what's going on. You're not hiding anything, and nor are you trying to hide anything. But we trust the process. We trust what you're doing. This is why we were all screaming for you to get hired. The other part of this offense is get Caleb dialed in. Yes, I know you're trying to break him down. We all know that you're trying to do different things, and you're trying to break him into a new. But please make sure that is assignment number one. For him to be a bust would make this whole place cry. And right now we are investing a future in both you and him. So for me, is Ben Johnson going to be a bust or not? It depends how much this offense and this defense plays, how much this team trusts in him, how long he's got the attention of the locker room, and whether or not Ben Johnson is the guy, or whether or not Caleb Williams is going to be the guy that becomes generational and the franchise quarterback, which is something we're all hoping it would be. That's going to do it here for Bears' latest Fan Art Sports, our post-reaction to the first preseason game. It was a fun one. Game tied at 24-24. The Buffalo Bills are next. Josh Allen, we welcome him to Soldier Field, and we'll also welcome him to the practice field as well for a joint practice as well as a preseason game. It's been a fun one, and once again, I'm Dan Levy. Bear down. Green Bay Packers suck. Follow me, Bass on Air, BASS on Air. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Give me your grades. What are your grades for that first game against the Miami Dolphins? What are your concerns, and what were you impressed with, and who is your star for that first game? Let me know in the comments section. We'll chat it up. That's going to do it for me. Once again, I'm Dan Levy. Bears' latest Fan Art Sports. Talk to you soon.